Hey guys, this is Camfrey15 back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with another Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest manga chapter review. And this week we are covering, we're going to be talking about manga chapter 92 for Fairy Tail. Now, you're wondering, Camfrey15, why are you uploading so late than Wednesday at the latest? Well, I'm just be frankly, I was so busy with everything I had to do this week in my just personal life that I completely forgot that the chapter came out. I knew there was a chapter coming out this week. I totally just forgot to read it and everything. But thank goodness I did read it. Just now realizing that, and yes, I'm here to talk Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest. So in this chapter, we essentially cover a little bit of how the Diablos Guild came to be and stuff like that, and then somewhat their reasoning on why they're doing what they're doing. And then we also get introduced to the Dark Dragon Slayer Knights, essentially, which are all interesting characters and they're all their own very own opinion. Again, my only thing is when I saw them, I was like, okay, they're cool and stuff like that. It's just gonna be very interesting to see where they take these characters. But anyways, this is Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest chapter 92, titled The Great Labyrinth. Cover page of this chapter is Juvia doing her fawning over Gray and stuff like that. So we all know how much Juvia loves Gray. Anyways, let's get to the chapter. So essentially we kind of start off with a monologue about the Wizard Guild Magia Dragon, how it's the first and oldest wizard guild in the world, and over 100 years ago it was founded to unite and protect wizards against persecution. And then after some time has passed, wizard guilds of all kinds started appearing all over the world, like Fairy Tail, for example. And the founder of the Magia Dragon Guild is Elfseria. He lived at the guild all by himself. And that's, well, as we know, the person who trusted Fairy Tail, Natsu and Company, to do the 100-year quest. But that's when obviously Natsu and Company went back to, go report their progress to Elfseria. So they show up at Elfseria, and Elfseria's just kind of looking at this diagram, at this tablet to be exact, and essentially it shows him that Alderaan and Merphobia, they have already been sealed. So Fairy Tail's kind of like shocked, like, wow, you already knew that? I guess there's no point in telling. And Elfseria is like, well, congratulations on the work you've done and stuff like that. Now, he goes on to say that this is the first time in 100 years that those who've defeated any of the 5 dragon gods have appeared. 2 dragons at that, and stuff like that. So, yeah. But hey, I keep calling Elfseria Merphobia. My bad. But Elfseria, he's proud of that Fairy Tail has gotten this far, because I guarantee you the people he probably envisioned them not getting very far, but hey, they got him very far and stuff like that. So yeah, now they end up telling Elfseria what happened with Selena, how it was because of Suzaku, who drove her away. And he even makes the mention about Suzaku, and they're like, wait, you know him? And yeah, and Elfseria's like, well, yeah, I know him because he's in the Diablos Guild. And he's in Guillotina's current wizard guild, Diablos, and everything. Now Happy does ask the question, is like, well, are they a dark guild? And Elfseria's like, no, they're a full legalized guild and stuff like that, so they're not bad. And he even goes, now Elfseria continues to go on with a statement saying, while it's true that Master Georg's behavior is deplorable, their jobs do not violate any laws. So we know that obviously the Diablos Guild, they run like a regular guild. They're not evil, even though, their former master, the Georg, was, I guess, the character that just wasn't very respectful and everything, and stuff like that. Now, Carla asked an interesting question, because she's like, it's very interesting how they say they hunt dragons. This quest would be, perfect for them. Like, is this the reason like why the 100-year quest was made and everything? And essentially that's when Wendy's like, well, didn't you ask Diablos to do this 100-year quest before us? And Elfseria's like, yep, I did several years ago, that Georg. But at the time, he says the Diablos Guild didn't exist back then. This is when we kind of go into a little bit of a backstory of how Diablos formed and became a guild. So Elfseria says, Diablos was a guild created in the wake of the 100 Years quest. Georg killed surviving dragons except the 5 dragon gods and consumed their flesh. Eventually, he came to be known as the Dragon Eater. So I'm also taking this interpretation from the fact that Georg was probably like 100 years, like 100 to 200, few hundred years old, especially if he's eating dragons, because we know dragons kind of went extinct after a point in time, in the fairy tale world. But it definitely seems that I think I've already said this, or I think I've already hinted the fact that Georg's definitely much older than he looks and stuff like that. But yeah, but again, we get some further stuff about Georg. I guess you can say it's nice to get this information, but it kind of sucks that Georg's kind of dead now. So it's like, well, it's not to say that the information is not helpful, but it's like, damn, if he was still alive, at least it would have been like, okay, and further hints. Now, to our fairy tale friends, Natsu and others, they think he's still alive. They don't know that Selene actually killed him and stuff like that. Eventually, because Georg did all that dragon hunting and stuff like that, people formed around him and joined his cause, and then that's when the Diablos Guild was formed and stuff like that. Essentially, that's the whole thing. So Gray's like, so that's how they know about the 5 dragon gods. But Lucy's like, but doesn't that go against not telling anyone the details of the 100-year quest? And Elfseria's like, yeah, it does. He goes on to say that the request was annulled and the rights were passed to another guild, which we obviously know is Fairy Tale, and stuff like that. Now, that's when Urza brings the interesting question, and she's like, well, isn't it illegal for them to go after our quest because they're not legally in their rights to do their quest because they weren't requested to do it? And obviously, Elfseria's like, yeah, but that's probably concerning me the most. He goes on to say, at present, the official rights belong to you. However, the real intention is that the client can be anyone who can fulfill the request. So essentially, there's like, I guess you can say a little, I guess, I don't know how you would say the word, a little loophole to where Elfseria is saying, yeah, even though I gave you the 100-year quest and it's in your right to do that, and it's essentially your guild's rights to carry that out, technically they can kind of still get involved without much trouble, which makes absolutely no fucking sense, but okay. So the thing is, and Elfseria continues by saying, it pains me to tell you this, but if it's to seal the 5 dragon gods, I've decided to leave Diablos alone in the matter. And I think from the standpoint, Elfseria is like, well, I think from Elfseria's standpoint, it's like, well, whatever seals the 5 dragon gods, I don't really care. If somebody else takes care of it alongside you guys, listen, I'm fine with that. Because guess what? At the end of the day, I'm getting the request fulfilled. But at the same time, you can understand from Fairy Tale's perspective, because they're doing this quest. They're like, but you requested us to do this. We have the right to do it. And after we complete it, we should get paid for our work. We don't want another guild to take the reins of this, steal that. And then if you find out, oh, they did some of your stuff, well, guess what? You might be the person that might renege on saying, well, you needed assist from another person's guild. I'm not going to give you the damn money. Now, I would envision Elfseria's not going to be like that. I think you would still give them the applicable funds for completing the quest because they completed the quest. And at least they took down 2. But it's kind of a weird loophole to say the least. I think it's just, I think honestly the loophole is just created by Elfseria, because Elfseria could just go to Diablos and say, no, you guys cannot do this. You cannot interfere in this. Otherwise, you guys are going to your guild's going to get into trouble. Elfseria at this point, he's so damn old. I'm guessing he's just like, you know what? At this point, I don't care who seals the 5 dragon gods. Just seal them for the love of God. So yeah. And it's funny because most of the fairy tale members, they're like, dude, that's not fair. Like, what the hell, man? And stuff like that. Now, Urza's like, listen, you know, we need to calm down and stuff like that. We need to understand why obviously our client, Elfseria, feels that way, which obviously I just said and everything. And obviously, Urza goes and say, there's no helping that our goal of sealing the calamitous dragons is the same as theirs. But Urza's like, but listen, if they attack our guild, well, you know what happens when you listen, it's the same type of speech. The same type of spiel we've seen in the last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 arcs of Fairy Tail. The whole thing, if you attack Fairy Tail or attack any of their guild members, you're the one who's gonna probably have Fairy Tail coming on your ass. So it's the same thing, even though technically Diablos did start fighting Fairy Tail, which was way back in the Alderaan arc. So it's like, technically, Urza, you can have the rights to go after them because they did attack your guild. But again, you know, I think it's building up. I think we're building up in this, like, I guess what we're gonna call the Great Labyrinth arc now. Well, I'm guessing how this whole Selene arc is gonna end is we're probably gonna get Diablos versus Fairy Tail. I'm guessing that's just my prediction. So, yeah. But I do like how Elfseria is like, but doesn't that? I'm like, but you guys can't do that. You know, the inter-guild conflict treaty thing where guilds can't fight each other, legal guilds can't fight each other and stuff like that. So yeah. And obviously, freaking Urza's like, well then if you're gonna bring up that problem, then why don't you punish Diablos for getting involved in our freaking missions and stuff like that. So yeah, you get a funny fan service scene where Elfseria is in between the tits of Lucy, where Natsu just tries to get him out and literally he's putting his hands in Lucy's tits, which again is another Nalu moment right there, because you can't have fan servicey Nalu moments as well, and stuff like that. Now Gray tells Elfseria like, look dude, we understand what you're trying to say, but at the same time you need to understand what we're trying to say and stuff like that. And Elfseria's kind of like, you know what, I'm just not going to worry about that. I'm just going to turn a blind eye to that. And essentially Elfseria's just like, geez, can these guys get along for once? And stuff like that. Now, eventually what happens is Elfseria says it's about the time that Hokage shows up. And we find out that Hokage is, well, a talking crow. So in the fairy tale world, we got talking crows now. Yeah, same old black crows who I see cawking at me at the morning. Gah, gah, gah! Well, this one's talking. So yeah. Now Hokage is saying that there's a big emergency, and the fact is the big emergency is that there's intruders in the Great Labyrinth. Now this shocks Elfseria to the point he's sweating bullets and everything, and stuff like that. Now Hokage goes on to say that he's traveling crow, and he met Elfseria while traveling to the east to west in search of money 5 years ago. But the people who are at the Great Labyrinth are the Diablos guilds, and they have their Dark Dragon Slayer knights with them, and Hokage's like, dude, they're practically at full power and stuff like that. So we see most of the main members who we've seen so far of the Diablos guild and stuff like that. Now, obviously, you know, they're like, well, I thought we were supposed to take out Elfseria, but obviously Selene had sent them to come to the Great Labyrinth at first. And the last panel of the chapter is us getting introduced to the other remaining 3 Dark Dragon slaying knights. And we got Kirin the Yellow Dragon, Haku the White Tiger Dragon, Masaki the Azure Dragon, and Suzaku the Vermilion Dragon. Now, the one thing we see as opposed to Suzaku in this whole scene is the fact that the other Dark Dragon Slayer Knights, they're like, you know what? I'm liking this Selene. I dig her. You know, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with her leading us. Honestly, we all know Suzaku, he doesn't seem so muchly intrigued by the whole standpoint of, well, why should we listen to them and stuff like that, or why should we listen to Celine? But it seems like the other dark dragon slaying knights, they're totally fine with that. Like, one of them says, I can get behind Celine's goal, beat the 5 dragon gods, and make a world full of humans. Doesn't that sound good? And Haku's like, our master's a dragon, how cool is that? And even Masaki, she's like, it's not so bad. Honestly, she's not so bad as I thought she would be. So it definitely seems that, well, the other dragon slaying knights, they're cool with Celine. Suzaku is the only one that doesn't seem to be cool with that. Now there's a little interesting tidbit at the end. So it goes on to say, each of the dark dragon slaying knights symbolizes one of the 4 beasts of Chinese mythology. Now, I don't know much about Chinese mythology. Maybe I'll do some research going into next week's in 2 weeks manga chapter reviews from manga chapter 93. Maybe I'll look up some things and find some information, but the reasoning why they have all, their title names is because of Chinese mythology. The Azure Dragon, the Vermilion Bird, the White Tiger, and the Yellow Dragon, and the Arquelan, a 5th beast replacing the more widely known Black Tortoise here. So it's interesting to say the least. I'm gonna be very interested to see what their type of magic is and what their type of elemental magic is, because it's very interesting. I'm guessing from the standpoint, we got the Yellow Dragon, so I'm guessing he's gonna use Yellow Dragon magic or something like that. Obviously, the only I don't know. I have to see. I didn't do any research really looking into what Azure means and stuff like that. But we know that from the thing that it's Azure Dragon. So obviously that one girl has Azure Dragon, Misaki, and then White Tiger Dragon. So I'm guessing it was a White Tiger Dragon she ate and had that power or stuff like that. So gonna be very interesting to say the least. I do like the designs of the other remaining 3 dragon slaying knights. Now that I look at it, obviously the little one's just like in I guess a onesie essentially. It's more like a coat onesie type of thing there. For some reason, I'm not even joking, Kieran, I kid you not, bro. I kid you not. Kieran, for some reason, he looks like fucking Rob Lucci from freaking One Piece. Literally. Literally. He looks like Rob Lucci from One Piece. I'm like, this dude looks... I'm like, I don't know if Mashima's stealing some things from One Piece, but Kieran looks like Rob Lucci from One Piece. And then as for Masaki, I do like her design. She pretty unique to say the least. Obviously she looks like a middle-aged woman and stuff like that. Looks very powerful. The coat she wears honest to God, resembles almost the coat. What's her name? I forgot the damn girl's name. Holy crap, man. Her coat reminds me of Kagura's coat when she first appeared, even though it's longer, and Kagura's outfit was obviously clearly a more short, outfit she was wearing. But her jacket literally reminds me of, her wearing like Kagura's jacket. Very interesting to see. I can't wait to see what they truly can do. Definitely it seemingly like they're going to be very strong and some very interesting antagonists for our fairy tale comrades to go up against. I'm guessing obviously Natsu's going to go up against Kieran. It only makes sense you have Wendy go up against Haku. Urza, Urza's probably going to go up against Shizuku because sword stuff, and maybe Gray and Lucy take on Masaki or something like that. I don't know. They look very damn interesting, to say the least. But I can't wait to see more. I'm also going to be very interested to see what is this great labyrinth going to be about? Because we know it's essentially a labyrinth is just a crazy maze, which is essentially they're going to be in a dungeon. But again, I definitely did like this chapter, and I was actually shocked that they revealed the dark dragon slaying knights at the end of this chapter. But other than that, guys, again, sorry for the super late upload of this, but anyways, I'm gonna get it first. So if you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's chapter of Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, as well as hit that subscribe button if you want to get more Fairy Tail content. Again, I'm doing Fairy Tail arc reviews alongside this, alongside my manga reviews. So this upcoming Monday is going to be my review of the Sun Village arc, the prequel, I guess you can say, storyline before we get to the Tartaros arc and stuff like that. Yeah, but and then another thing too, just bringing that I started bringing new to the channel. If you guys didn't know, if you're fans of Black Clover, I am watching Black Clover currently right now, and I am doing arc reviews of Black Clover on the channel here. So far I know up to on my channel I posted up to the dungeon exploration arc. Now I have a lot of pre-recorded Black Clover videos on my laptop which I record off of, look forward to that. I don't know when those things, my Black Clover arc reviews go like, it's just what if. I'm probably gonna do that like maybe 2 videos, you know, whatever, how much I've watched. Right now, currently the Black Clover arc I'm on is the Royal Knights arc, where it's the whole tournament thing going on, and stuff like that. But other than that, I'm really liking that series. So if you do like Black Clover, well, get my thoughts on that. I'll probably leave the playlist at the outro. But other than that, guys, I'm gonna get over. Again, have a great, safe rest of your day. Until then, guys, see you guys later. Peace.